Are you spending or are you investing? In today's show, we're going to talk about mastering money decisions, how to value and invest wisely in your business. And today, I have a very special guest with me, my co host in today's show, who is Susan Jarema. Did I get it correct?
You
And
got it right.
Susan is a wonderful and expert marketer, as well as the leader of an amazing community that is growing widely across the world called the Grand Connection. So, we're going to start a conversation, and then I have a great invited guest for us to talk about resources that all of us, as heart center female entrepreneurs that we know we are, want to have when we're talking about money. So, very soon, I'm going to bring let me bring her on now because I don't know if she can hear me. So, let me bring her on. Hold on. Here's my other special guest. Hi.
Look at
This is Stephanie Pimentel. She's going to be talking to us about how we can get our hands in more money. But first, Susan and I want to talk to you about money. And let me just tell you, this is your first time watching. Please make sure that you tell us in the chat your name, your business, where are you tuning in from, where in the world you are, and whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If you're on YouTube, by the way, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so that every time we come live, you can tune in. So please make sure to chat and let us know where you are because we want to hear from you. My name is Evie Diaz, and I am a financial empowerment speaker, a financial trauma healer, and soon to be a published author. And today, we started this conversation actually. Susan, do you recall how we started?
Well, it was after one of our Grand Connection events. We were chatting in the room afterwards. Everybody stays on at the end of the networking, and we were just talking about the value of money and how a lot of people. It's I see it happen so many times, but they say I don't have any money. I've spent it all on the wrong investment. They haven't made the right decision about what they invested their resources for their business, and now they're tapped out, they're struggling, and you're thinking, oh, I wish we could have talked to you before on how to make better decisions, smarter decisions with your money and your investment in your business, because it's so important to do it in the best way that you can choose at the time. And so, we just started talking about that and feeling for people that have maybe they don't have the money anymore. They feel that they've been ripped off or scammed, or they lost the money on a bad investment. And this could also apply to any investment in your life. But we were talking about the small businesses that are investing in the resources they need to grow their business and doing it in the right way.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are just joining in, I'm going to check in there to see if we have a shout out. Oh, Barbara Ingracia. Thank you for watching and tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in our 4 p.m. Fabpreneurs Networking. She is one of our VIPs. Um, and let's talk about this because here's a way that I want us to begin this conversation about mastering money decisions, how we value money, how we invest wisely, and also how we spend. Because I think one of the conversations, Susan, that you and I had was because I came in and I talked about, and for those of you who are watching, please chime in the chat. How many times have you bought a book that you have not read? How many times have you invested in a course that you have not finished? And how many times have you allowed food to spoil in the refrigerator and then you had to toss it out? That is all money that we have invested or spent, right? So we want to look at how do we value money. And, one of the things that I did is I said, grab a dollar or whatever currency in your country and tell me how you would feel if I tell you, let's rip it apart, right? Let's rip that dollar and throw it in the
I mean,
trash.
you did that at our event, Evie, and I was like, oh my God. Dollar. You had to actually tell me it wasn't a real dollar because I was quite upset about the whole thing.
And that's what inside of this conversation, because then we started talking, right? So go ahead to tell us how you felt when I said that about the dollar, and then the difference between tearing off currency paper and buying a book and not
That,
reading
yeah,
it. What's the
the book,
difference?
yeah, the tearing up the currency was just really bugged me. I'm used to buying books. I have a bookshelf full of books and that I have never read. Well, I read part of it because you don't know you don't know if you're going to get into it or not, right? You just start it and go, and then you don't, and then you pass it on to somebody else. But audiobooks, you can't pass them on to anybody. So if that one you don't like, that one's totally wasted. But the ripping up the money is definitely, and the food in the fridge bugs me a lot too because I see it. It's tangible, right?
Yep. And the dollar bill is tangible. And when you go to rip it, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't spend this money on anything. So now I'm literally ripping money apart or burning it. I've seen that done too, is people literally, okay, burn that dollar. And people are like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But we do it all the time.
So now it's interesting. Stephanie will give us, before we end today, she's going to give us some resources and tell us a little bit about smart money, big purpose. So, Stephanie, what is the difference between the currency when we're holding it and those items that we've already invested in? What is the difference, do you think?
Yeah, well, the value we put to it. So that value, that piece of paper that is a dollar or called a dollar or any currency in any country, right? It's that value, like, oh, that is so worth so much because I haven't spent it on anything. Now we've spent it on a book or a course or the food. Okay, now I'm choosing whether I'm using it or not, versus I'm not going to choose to rip that dollar or burn that money at that
Yes.
moment. And then we don't relate it necessarily the same, because look at younger people today, they don't have physical currency. It's all electronic. It's out in the air, it's out in the ethers. So it doesn't mean much.
Or it's mom and dad's money.
Hey, nothing like using other
That's
people's
quite
mother.
easily. Yeah.
OPM. It just happens to be mom and dad for them or any other
Exactly.
caring adult.
And you know what? First of all, just so you know, the intention today is to really attract heart center female entrepreneurs who have different beliefs about money, but more importantly, for those of you who have a negative, limiting, or scarcity thought about money, our conversation, and we want to just talk from the heart, is a conversation about what is the value that we're putting on money? How do we differentiate when we are spending, when we're being wasteful, and when we're investing, particularly because, there are many opportunities that come to us that there's a part of us that feels that, yes, this is the right opportunity. I should invest in my well being, whether it's spiritually, physically, health wise, for my business, right? And many times, because we give it so many different meanings, right? We end up sometimes wasting more money and spending more money. And it's all relative. And that's what I want to talk to you ladies about. Because someone can say, I go to the bar in Miami, and after a long week of work, right? And I'm going to go and have just 3 drinks, right? But 3 drinks in Miami can cost you anywhere from $30 to $100, right? So are you spending? Are you investing? Or are you wasting money? What do you ladies think? Let's have that conversation because I think that's very important for us to put perspective and value to money that makes sense for us short term and long term for both our personal lives and our business lives.
I, I have a hard time with this the drinks in the bar because it seems to me like a lot because it's a lot less to drink at home when you go to a bar. I am coming to accept that this is part of life and that you're out with friends and it's part of the relationship or you're with family and that is something I'm investing in that relationship that I am there and trying to be in the moment and not be stressing about the fact that I just wasted $100. I used to compare everything with AdWords, early day AdWords when it first came out, because AdWords used to make money. So I used to do a lot of advertising with AdWords, and $1 clicks, like I go, that was if you spent $100 somewhere, that could have been 100 clicks, and I could have got this much of a return on my investment for my business. So everything was in that state. And then there's been stages of my life when I got back from Africa, where we've been supporting a school there, and I've told you about the charity, but $1 a day feeds a child, right? So you think about these things when you're spending money, and trying to be intentional. And like when I was on a holiday with family in London, it's way more expensive than it is in Canada where I live, and $100 was nothing. Just $100 Canadian was 50 pounds, and it didn't go very far at all. And I had to intentionally go, okay, I'm going to just be with the moment, enjoy the people that's with me. This is what money is in this place and time, and not compare it to the other things I could be doing with money, because it is a challenge. I don't know. What do you guys do about this?
You know what? Let's unbox that for a minute, because first of all, you mentioned your charity, and I want to mention that in just a second, because we have a special offer today from your organization for people who are watching. And I'll talk a little bit. I want to talk about that organization and why I want to talk about it, because we're doing something through MoneyFest with that organization. But let's talk about that whole idea of what do we construe as wasteful versus useful, or wisely versus not wisely. And, that's all relative, and it's all pertains to whether or not there is this word called balance. I always have to say balance, because really I don't know what balance is, but it's for me, and I'm just going to talk about me personally. So for me, the way that I feel about it is that, yes, I want to look at the whole scheme of things. Am I wanting to help an organization like Susan's, or some of the organizations that I help here locally in Miami, and do I want to have a good time? Well, yeah. So then I may think, well, is there a place that I could have just as great a time with my family, let's say in Hollywood Beach, for those of us like Stephanie and I live in Florida, versus going to South Beach, right? Where in South Beach, I might just get 3 drinks if I'm lucky, right? 3 drinks. And in over there in Hollywood, I can probably get all of us 2 drinks each. You know what I mean? And now
The
I'm
same.
paying for all of us, right? So am I still having a good time? Yeah, and I look good because I'm paying for both of you, and we're all drinking okay. 2 drinks is okay. And we're sitting right across the ocean on Hollywood, by the boardwalk. And the same thing we would have done in South Beach, sit in front of the ocean, except in South Beach is a lot more expensive, right? Because it's location, like real estate.
Yes.
So then I could make that choice. This is just me personally, right? Similarly, if I'm going to, so I can make those choices. Similarly, when it comes to investing in our business, we get opportunities sometimes and we choose not to. Like, Susan, you were telling me about sometimes people say, no, I don't want to invest in my company, whether it be for, they need a new website that you can create for them, right? And then all of a sudden, they may be doing an unplanned travel, and they're spending lots of money. Let's say I'm going to say places here in Florida. They're going to Orlando. They're going to Disney World, where everything is overpriced, right? And so then they come back and they say, well, I don't have money. I can't invest in my business. I can't grow my business because I don't have money. And they just had an unplanned trip, let's just say, let's pretend, to Orlando, where they probably spend no less than $2,000, if not more, in 5 days. So what are your thoughts about this? And then please remind me, Susan, I do want to talk about your organization, because I do want people to participate in a special that we have through MoneyFest. And first, let me hear from both of you. What do you guys think about that? What I just shared.
Well, it's your choice what you do with your money, and you have your reasons. Sometimes it's somebody who hasn't paid their bill, and that's where I We built the website and they haven't paid the bill, and then I see them on a trip somewhere, and I'm going, oh, they really did have the money, and they didn't choose to pay their obligations, and things get worked out over time. But it I'm always surprised at some of the things I see people spending money on, and obviously Facebook tells a lot, because you see what our Instagram, because you end up connecting with clients and friends and everybody together, and my clients are my friends. But the choices people make with their money, you see it over and over again in what they're choosing for the investments. One of the big ones I see happen is they'll choose some large training program, or it could be a big marketing investment that they kind of got on a whim, and it was an emotional sale. They feel that they needed it. It might have been too good to be true, kind of a marketing around it. And then they're disappointed afterwards because they feel that they didn't get any value from it, and they feel it was a waste. And then sadly, they don't have enough for the next part of their investment, and they're struggling to figure out what to do next to get business, because they use their money on the wrong choice. And I see that, and it hurts. Or it could be a scam too. So sometimes they'll meet somebody, something happens. This happens in the web development world a lot. Somebody will find somebody on Fiverr, they'll take the deposit, and they will disappear. So you just don't know. So again, it's doing the proper research, making sure that you really understand what you're investing in, so that you're comfortable with the outcome that it has, and to be looking at it in the right way. And there's lots of things, I mean, we can talk about things that we can do to evaluate decisions when it comes to investing. I'm sure both of you have a wealth of knowledge in this.
And that's where I want to bring Stephanie in, because Stephanie has a specialty that will allow us to look at what we invest in business, and how, and what opportunities are available for us to get our hands around money. So Stephanie, because Susan, I'll leave the part, I really want to talk about the nonprofit and us giving, because that's part of what we do with our money and mastering money decisions. I'm a big believer that we have to give. I'm a big believer in that. And in the meantime, I want to ask Stephanie to share with us, Stephanie, as business owners, when we have to make decisions regarding, an investment that's necessary, whether it be because we need a new website, or because we honestly need to hire someone to help us, either through coaching, consulting, or a course, what resources are available for us as entrepreneurs?
Thanks, Amy. What I've learned over many years working not only with entrepreneurs, but in investors, especially real estate investors, is it's the tools that we use. So business credit, business funding being one of the main ones. As entrepreneurs, your community, Susan, you're working with them to build those websites, or all the tools that they need to grow their business. Well, you typically need capital to do that. And what tends to happen is, going back to those choices, right? Is entrepreneurs want to have that balance of personal and enjoyment of the money that's coming in from the business that you started and you built with your family and your friends. But yet they tend to struggle because they're using all of their own capital and their credit, their own personal credit, which tends to strangle that to grow their business. And there's a ceiling, so they get stuck. Instead of, I have this business, no matter how many years it's been open, did I build the proper foundation for my investment vehicles to invest in the business, and using the money instead of using it out of your own pocket? You're using the business credit, business funding for the business. So
Exactly. Not too many
smart.
people do this, Stephanie. So tell us
Yep.
the difference, because I invited Susan, I invited Stephanie because Stephanie talks, and she just recently wrote a book about, especially for people who are just starting up, how to set up their business wisely so that they can develop personal business credit and not put all the emphasis on their own credit. So, Stephanie, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the book's called Building Business Credit. Pretty simple, 10 easy steps. It's a step by step, and I put it into 10 because it's from opening the business to creating a funding package and giving you a list of all the ways that you can get funding for all the different, it's like a big buffet, right? We have the big buffet of financial tools and investments, and then we have business credit, business funding buffet. So that's what I wrote it about. And that's why smart money is about using smart tools and tips and techniques to gain access to your bigger purpose. So that's why I wrote it.
And I like that. And Susan, one of the things is that for us, with the services that we provide, I'm a believer that we should offer different funding resources to people. Because if we truly believe in what we have, whether it be like, let's say you have a client that you're building a website and you know they either don't have a website or they have an outdated website, they really need this new website and they really want it. Sometimes because they have commingled their funds or ran out of funds because they've been relying on their personal funds, they don't have a way to go. Now, Stephanie doesn't provide that as a service per se, but I've come into contact with an organization that will help, members in my community to get funding, for their business, because we should try as much as possible to separate that. Would you agree with that, Susan and Stephanie?
Hmm. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I have all kinds of resources through the book and on my site so that everyone can find ways to do the building and have access to funding. Mhm.
Yes. What are your thoughts, Susan, in Canada for Canadian entrepreneurs? What's available for them out there when they really need funding, whether they're starting or whether they're a solopreneur like many of us?
Well, I do know that there are some digital grants for going online. A couple of my clients have received those, so you apply and get them. There was quite a few grants during COVID for entrepreneurs to well, everybody was struggling during that time. I would say go and ask around, go into the communities and ask what other people are doing. You can Google it too. The Canada Revenue site has listings of grants, so to look for that. I'm not an expert in this by
Yeah,
any means, so I don't know. I have seen lots of clients have come to me and they have received grants. So they are getting them for digital. The
yes.
online, they seem to be supporting the online stuff. So you can use it for SEO, partially for your website and for AdWords and things like that to get you going. And nonprofits, of course, I think this is across the Canada and the US, can receive free Google AdWords too. They apply for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you might be wondering if you're watching us why we talk about this, because as business owners, we really do have to know what are all the choices that are available for us so that we can indeed master our money decisions, so that we know when are we investing, when are we
Wasting.
spending, and when are we just wasting, right? That's all, to your discretion, and you will choose differently. And the part that we slightly mentioned is the part about giving back. Now, I am a believer in giving back, and I want to ask Susan. She has an organization called Grand Connection, and we've partnered with them so that today, when you decide to invest in your business by attending MoneyFest Live, which you can do by going to moneyfestlive.com. And I'm going to give you a special link in the chat right now, which is affiliated directly with Grand Connection. When you use this, you're going to get a special pricing for Grand Connection. And also, you're going to also be able to actually the special pricing you have to go through Grand Connection because I want to make sure. But either way, when you register for MoneyFest Live, I want you to put if you've heard about it and if you want to participate in giving back, to put Susan or Grand Connection in the registration one and ask you, how did you hear about this? And I would like Susan to tell us a little bit about that organization as I put this link here so that people who buy a ticket today will have an opportunity to know that 50% of the proceeds of that ticket, and Susan, I think you got my email that I said I'm going to give you 50% of the ticket sales. back to this organization. And Susan, please tell us about the organization.
Well, thank you, Evie. That is a very generous contribution for our community. It's the Mother Magdalene Foundation, and it's a member of our community, the Grand Connection, Robert, who set this up in his own village in Uganda. I visited Uganda 3 years ago and had the opportunity. He was our tour operator, and I had the opportunity to attend and visit the school that he set up, and he's been funding from his tour operator business and from donations from people who have been his clients. He has his mission is to support young people to develop the values of community and giving back in the community, and then he goes and he helps them by young orphans who he sees that don't have a place to live or a school to go to. He invites them to come to his school, and they have over 240 students now. He's built. There's about 7 or 8 buildings. There's staff. They've got a farm now where they're growing their own food. We've raised money for a water tank. We've helped him find some collaboration partners where he's gotten electricity there. So it's really grown. We built a new roof for one of the buildings, and we're now raising money for bunk beds because the students are sleeping on mattresses on the floor, and with bunk beds we can get them off the ground and sleep more. You can actually fit more people in the room, and it's less crowded with going upgrades. So that's what we're raising money for, as always, food. We love your support. Thank you so much. Every dollar goes a long way over there. And we know that the money is going directly to the students. He provides full transparency of what everything costs and the receipts and where our money's going. And it feels really good to be supporting them. And I've met the students, and there's one girl that she's graduated, and we're now paying for her tuition to go to high school. And she would like to be a nurse or a doctor. So we're very, inspired that on her journey that it's helping her achieve something that wouldn't have been possible before. So
I love that. So for people who are watching, if you are a member of the Grand Connection, I'm going to put the link inside the Grand Connection group. If you're not a member, but you become a member, we'll also give you that. And if you're not a member, want to find out more, please put it down in the chat so that we can see and we can give you the link to join Grand Connection. And today, either way, whether you buy a discounted ticket or a regular price ticket, make sure that when you're registering, you either mention Susan or Grand Connection, whatever you recall, and 50% of that ticket will go to this organization. We are a big believer that it's important to give. So right now, what I had here is our regular website, but I'm going to put the Grand Connection link for those of you who are Grand Connection members and are watching this, and we'll put it when we put this video inside of the Grand Connection community. And I know, Stephanie, you're part of the Women's Prosperity Network, who also believes in prosperity. And I'll give you the link for the Women's Prosperity so that people that are watching from the Women's Prosperity and buy a ticket, they can use that. And either way, if wherever you are, if you want to donate to that organization by buying a ticket, just let us know. We'll make sure that we send that money, because we really want to give them a nice check so that, like Susan said, whatever money always helps. And if you're coming to MoneyFest anyway, doesn't it make you feel better that part of what you invest in is not just for yourself, but also for helping someone?
Absolutely.
Yes. So any other words that you ladies want to share? I just wanted to stop and say that, part of what we want to do with mastering our money decisions is to at least consciously say, am I investing? Am I wasting? Right? Am I giving back?
You want it aligned, and there's balance to this. I loved how you brought in balance, and I know that we're going to talk about that at MoneyFest as well, because your life is a balance. It's a journey. It's a roller coaster, and money is a tool that we're using in our life to live our lives. And it is a tool. It has its good and its bad. It's helpful for us to live and to do the things we want to do, and making the right choices with it is just it's good money sense.
And
Absolutely.
as Zig Ziglar always said, money is like oxygen. It ranks right up there with oxygen. It's something we all need in this world, unless we live in a tribe or some kind of culture that doesn't use money, but most of us do. And so, with that being said, you want to learn how to use it for yourself to gain the tools and the education and investing in yourself so that you can keep growing and obtaining your big purpose, no matter what that is.
Absolutely. So, for those of you watching live or the replay, please make sure to put your information here or to reach out to any of the three of us. Whether you want to find out more about Smart Money Big Purpose with Stephanie Pimentel, if you want to find out more about how to make a grand connection with Susan, whether through her organization, the Grand Connection Networking Group, or because you need some expert marketing advice, you can reach out to her. And of course, if you or someone you know has suffered through what we call financial trauma and wants to heal that financial trauma because you are realizing that you are indeed worthy and deserving of being financially free as you define financial freedom, then by all means, join us at MoneyFest Live November 1st and 2nd, because MoneyFest Live is a live virtual event for heart centered female entrepreneurs who really feel that they deserve and they are worthy of financial freedom. But because of this financial trauma, perhaps they've been shy to ask or maybe to receive. Maybe they've been shy or maybe they've been fearful of receiving. Maybe they need some marketing help. Maybe they need some sales help. So that's what we're going to be covering at MoneyFest Live. It is a mindset, marketing, and sales, like a big workshop for heart center female entrepreneurs like you. And we want to hear from you. So I want to thank the beautiful Susan for being with us and all the members of Grand Connection for watching. Stephanie Pimentel with Smart Money, Big Purpose, and the Women's Prosperity Network. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for watching. Please let us know, put your name there. We want to connect with you. And please make sure that you find me everywhere on social media at Evie Diaz Speaks, and let's connect. And if you're watching and you want to join us, remember that today, immediately following this, we have our Fabpreneurs networking event. So please go to my website, and somewhere in there, you're going to find our link, or I can put it here in the chat for you. Any last minute words, lady, before we leave?
Well, I'm looking forward to Money Fest. I'm excited, and I'm coming to your networking right after this. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to all of
Awesome.
this. It's the theme at the Grand Connection this month is money, and so everything's been about money. I'm dreaming about money, and this is a perfect way to continue the abundance stream.
And make it fun, right, Susan and Evie?
It's
It's like
fun.
we got to make money fun. And it can be such a serious and daunting subject. So make it fun, enjoy the ride.
And now, well, Stephanie, you've actually been to my event. Do I make my events fun?
Yes, you do. I know. You always make them fun. So,
It's
yeah.
important to elevate. So, by the way, if you're watching and you want to join us, make sure you send me a direct message, including you, Stephanie and Susan, so I can send you the Zoom link, because we've had so many people registering. We're moving from Google Meet to Zoom. So I have to send you Zoom, which, by the way, I just got a new Zoom account thanks to my membership at the Grand Connection.
That's
That's what
awesome.
community is all about, helping each other and
Absolutely. So
helping you save money.
there you go. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see who's Keisha. Okay, what ways to make money fun with kids? Okay, Keisha, we'll have to continue that conversation during our Fabpreneurs networking at 4 o'clock now. And also, we definitely want to have that conversation at MoneyFest, because so many women that are attending have children. And that's very important that we begin with children, isn't it?
And learning about money for kids, that's math skills too. Like it's really good. It's
Yes.
combining both. Yeah.
There is a great kids game called Cash Flow for Kids. It's a board game. So, something to just throw out there, Keisha, that you could check out.
Oh, there you go. I hope that's helpful, Keisha, for you. So once again, thank you, fabulous ladies, for joining us. I hope that you can. Stephanie, if you want to continue the conversation in the Fabpreneurs, by all means, I appreciate both of you. And to say bye to everyone. Bye.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting
Thank
you,
you.
Susan.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
Thank you.